The portal is open, and I am sure numerous Buckeyes will enter it.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to a Tuesday edition of Locked On Buckeyes here on Tuesday, April 16th in the year 2024. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Simply visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Joining us during today's show, it's my guy, Mo Murphy of the Up in Flames podcast, also a part of the Off the Ball Network. Mo has been around here for a long time. He's a frequent voice and face you'll see or hear on the show. And with the transfer portal opening today and with the spring game being this past Saturday, I said, why don't we bring Mo back on the show to dive into his mind and let his Buckeye fandom just run wild today. Mo, the portal is open. All eyes on the quarterbacks. Who's going to win the quarterback battle in Columbus? But also there are eyes on what quarterbacks will enter the portal. I was recently on a show, and I believe this to be true. There are currently 5 guys on the in the quarterback room that are really, really good scholarship quarterbacks. I think of those 5 guys currently on the roster, 2 should hit the portal. Do you agree?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you can't. If you're quarterback 4 or 5 on a roster, why are you trying to be on that roster anyway when there's a portal open? You know, for you to be able to transfer. So yeah, I mean, if there's 4, it's probably because Aaron Nolan stays as the 4th and he gets redshirted. So I could see that being the scenario. But other than that, man, 2 of the guys got to go. And if they have any type of talent, like they say, like you'll be able to prosper somewhere else. It's just not at Ohio State.
And I know there are going to be things said today. I'm going to get this out of the way so everyone's like, what are y'all going to get into? There are going to be things here said today that might not be heard other places. But this is how Mo and I personally feel. We don't talk about all this stuff off air. So I'm looking forward to hearing who Mo thinks needs to go to the portal and why. But Mo, when I say 2, there are 2 names that come to my mind of guys that I would encourage. Go somewhere else, play right away. Number 33, Devin Brown, and Lincoln. Those 2 guys to me are the 2 guys right now in that room that go somewhere, play football. It may not be in the Big Ten or at a school like Ohio State. You may have to transfer down, but even if you transfer down, you can go to another school, play immediately, and also do some things this year that you wouldn't do at Ohio State.
Yeah, I agree. Like Aaron Nolan, to me, after the spring game, what I saw, it was his second play at quarterback that made me realize we got to keep him on the roster.
Oh, man.
If you remember, his first play was a handoff.
Yes.
Let's get his feet wet, hand the ball off to a running back, let's get a positive yard play, get you under center, get you a snap in front of 80,000 people, the most people you've probably played in front of in your life. Let's get that out the way. The second call, if anybody remembers, he is now in shotgun, typical Ohio State fashion. We got a running back, and we got a quarterback, and we're back there in shotgun. And he runs the RPO. He makes the right read, and he takes off to the outside. Let this have been a Saturday in September or October. He takes that to the house for a touchdown. But because that was a Saturday in April, hey, I slow up. I just run out of bounds. Nobody was there to catch me, but nobody's allowed to hit me. Him running the ball as his first play goes to tell me he is the type of quarterback that Ryan Day wants and the type of quarterback that we've been needing.
Yes.
Since, I guess you could say, since Justin Fields. As much as I love CJ Stroud, whether it was Day did not want to, it had to be Day did not want to unlock the ability of him using his legs, because we saw it his rookie year with the Houston Texans. He very well can run the ball, and we saw his final game against Georgia. The man is very capable of running the ball and making plays with his legs. But, like, I think with Aaron Nolan, I think that's more to his game than it is for CJ Stroud. And I think with that, I think he's the perfect type of quarterback for Ryan Day. We were missing that threat with the quarterback's legs. And so I think Aaron Nolan stays for that. And so I think it's Devin Brown. Like, this would be the second year in a row you lose the quarterback battle at Ohio State. Like, you got to go. Klein Holmes, this would be his second year technically, but last year I don't think he was on the clock because he was a freshman, so he was never really. It was McCord and Brown. But if I'm Kleinholz, like now I'm looking like, let's say, and we'll talk about it in a second, but if I'm looking at the quarterbacks ahead of me, now I got to start evaluating like if Julian Sang or Aaron Nolan is quarterback 2 and is labeled as the backup, like at the worst that puts me at 3 and at the very least puts me back in a quarterback position next year going into the spring game. It's the same thing all over. It'll be the same cycle. So I think some of these guys got to weigh in. Like, how many times do I want to battle for my spot where I could just go somewhere and be a star?
You know, there's a lesson to be learned by Dalton Hayden entering the portal. I know it may be weird to some that he entered, and I was one that said, hey, he should have played more last year. Forget that red shirt. They could have utilized his legs, just overall abilities as a running back last year. But also Dalton Hayden going to the portal, he about to waste another year in Columbus behind 2 guys. First year, he was behind multiple guys. Last year, he's behind multiple guys. And this year, you go out and get a guy that's more experienced and did a lot of good things down there at Ole Miss. I'm not saying Quinshon Judkins is bad, but Dalton Hayden redshirted to at least be the backup at worst this year. But Mo, you bring in a guy ahead of him. Judkins is good. Don't get me wrong. But I'm like, Hayden going to the portal, I wanted him to stay at Ohio State. But that may have been the best move for his career to realize early on, this ain't it. This is not the place for me to stay any longer. Let's go to the portal. And for these quarterbacks, they can learn that lesson too. Maybe your time at Columbus is up because you want to play now. And there are other places around the country that will allow you to play now and play high-level football. So Hayden is gone. I'm looking forward to find out where he plays. Will he go back? Will he go down south? Will he go back to his home state of Tennessee? That's to be determined. But for these quarterbacks, learn that lesson. It might not be your time in Columbus, and that's not a problem. Go to the portal.
Yeah, I think, like, here's my thing, is if I'm Devin Brown, like, that's the second year in a row. And Devin Brown's what, a junior?
Yeah, bro.
So he's a junior this year. This is probably the second year in a row he loses the quarterback battle. And then even if you stick around for your senior year, you're going into a quarterback battle with probably Julian Sand and Aaron Nolan.
That are good, that have better arms than him.
Probably better than you, but you're going – so that's just your senior year, you could lose the quarterback battle as well. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, the only people that make sense that stay on this roster is, to me, Julian Sand and Aaron Nolan. For the simple fact, I think in that case, Sand would be the backup or the starter. Correct. But he has a potential if – and we'll talk about this. I don't want to keep talking about the quarter, but, like, he'll have the potential to be a starter. And then Aaron Nolan will be quarterback 3. He's the true freshman on the roster. And then he's probably set for quarterback competition next year. And he knows if he beats Julian Sand out, Sand probably transfers, and he's going to be the quarterback for Ohio State next year and probably the year after that for his sophomore and junior year. So it makes sense for them two to stay because I think no matter what happens this year, there will be a quarterback battle between them in the spring, and I think that'll be the promising one that you want to see. Like, that'll be the quarterback battle where you'll feel very confident in either Sand or Aaron Nolan looking great and being the starting quarterback. I don't think we feel that comfortable right about now, which, like I say, we're going to talk about here in a second, and who I think will end up being at least the starter at the beginning of the season. But yeah, I think outside of that, like, you guys have already lost the quarterback battles. They've already went and seeked the quarterback in the transfer portal while you were on the roster. They got 2 of them in Julian Sang and Will Howard. Obviously, they had been recruited Aaron Nolan. You knew he was coming. But they went and got 2 quarterbacks out of the portal, one your age and one older, as in one to maybe take the reins after next year and the other one to be the surefire starter walking into the season while you were on the roster and competed in these quarterback battles. So it makes sense for you to go, especially because I don't think neither one of them are winning this quarterback battle this year anyway. So now you're going into another year, third year or second year on the roster as a backup. You might as well just take advantage of this portal. Even if you don't start and you rather ride the bench at Ohio State, like, that would be the only other option is if you're like, you know what? Because it's the spring portal, I might not be a starter at a big enough school. I could ride the bench at Ohio State one more year since I probably will be over here anyway. And then I could transfer, and now my name is hot coming out of Ohio State. That could be a reason why you stay, but yeah, no, y'all got to go.
There's one reason why I think Aaron Nolan should stay at Ohio State, and he has a skill set nobody else on the team has in the quarterback room. We'll dive into that next. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150 win or lose. You're able to bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and super easy to use. And many Buckeye fans after the spring game are looking ahead to what Ohio State might do in the fall. And our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook currently have Ohio State with the second best odds to win the Natty in the 2024 season at plus 450. 1 through 5 are the best betting odds currently: Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, Oregon, and Alabama. What are you waiting for? Simply visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. This episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. I've been told I'm a competitive person. Okay, well, yeah, I have a competitive side. We all do. And my competitive side is a big fan of Monopoly Go. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's been downloaded over 150 million times. It's a great twist on Monopoly where you play on not one, but hundreds of Monopoly boards in crazy locations, building up amazing cities that bring you big money. But the best part is messing with my friends. I can charge them rent on my iconic properties just like classic Monopoly. But now I can also rob their vaults of riches for myself, and the leaderboards show me who the biggest Monopoly tycoon is. But it's not just my competitive side that loves it. You can team up with friends and people all around the world in timed tournaments to earn huge rewards. So get in the game and join your friends. Download Monopoly Go now, free on the App Store or Google Play. It's Locked On's NFL Mock Draft Live on April 17th at 7 Eastern Time. Streaming on the Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel on the YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Find the ultimate 6-episode series on April 17th at 7 Eastern to hear who the local Locked On experts are picking for every NFL franchise, with live reactions from local college football experts and even the fantasy football angle. The Locked On NFL Mock Draft on April 17th at 7 Eastern, streaming live on Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel on the YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Mo, there's one thing that I love in sports, especially basketball. When you get a lefty that can shoot that rock and does it consistently, it's really hard for guys to defend that because it's not normal for you to defend a lefty, one, but then if he can shoot, it makes it even harder to defend him. Aaron Nolan being left-handed gives him a weapon that nobody else in that room has. Walk-on scholarship guys does not matter. Nobody else in that room is left-handed. But then you add into the fact he's not only left-handed as a quarterback, he's also somewhat of a point guard at the quarterback position. That right there in Chip Kelly's offense, I think those two things go hand in hand, and why he should stay at Ohio State and why Ryan Day and Chip Kelly will utilize him in the right way once he gets on the field, possibly next year, maybe the year after.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's instances where you could probably see him on the field this year. Like, you know, we're clearly not afraid if we don't feel 100% and we're not all in at our quarterback. Look at last year. We're clearly not afraid to put a backup in packages. And the fact of the matter is, if Aaron Nolan's deadly enough with his legs, because even if they know we're going to run every time, because he is a quarterback and can throw the ball and knows how to distribute the ball, it's always going to be a threat. And I think we could use him in those instances early. I think it's very possible you try and get his feet wet, especially in the first couple games that should be blowouts, you know, the tune-up games. You get him and Julian Sang in the late third and fourth quarter, couple drives under their belt. Now, we can't do what we usually do when we let those type of guys get their opportunity, is just hand the ball off for the rest of the time.
You're right.
Hey, once we put our backups in, now we're trying to get better as a team. And so now we're playing football. We took our starters out. We're not trying, but at the same time, we got to get better. Depth always has to be ready. You never know when one of those guys get hurt. If the team can't stop it, oh well. But I do think that's another thing that Ryan Day will have to do this year with these quarterbacks is you got to let them get some reps in these blowouts. Like, if Will Howard is the starting quarterback, which I think he will be, then if you're going to have Sane in the game or Nolan in the game late in the game, then you got to let them actually get reps. Just handing the ball off first and second down and giving them a throw on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, or 3rd and 5 is not going to cut it in a quick 3 and out for 2 drives and then trying to extend the drive, just running the ball. to run out the clock. That's not going to get them the reps that they need for. If Will Howard goes down, that's what you got on your roster anyway. So I've never understood why our backups ain't taking quality reps late in the games, but that's what Ryan Day does, and that's cool with me. You know, I guess if it works for you, it works for me. But yeah, I think Aaron Nolan should stay because he might find himself on the field this year.
You know, last year, the Cotton Bowl late in the season, if Ryan Day would have decided at some point in time to play the younger guys like you're speaking about, and not just play them, but allow them to throw the ball, that would have really helped Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. Now, I understand Missouri's a really, 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 really good football team. Not taking anything away from them and the success they had last season, but Lincoln would have been more prepared for that game. Devin Brown, even though he got hurt, he would have been more prepared for that game. If you're a quarterback and they're only giving you short yardage or run packages, I think that says a lot about you as a player and how they view your arm currently during that time period. Not saying you can't throw the ball or make some good throws, but buddy, you only on the field in run situations and occasional like trick plays. Maybe just letting him throw the ball a little bit would have allowed him to gain some confidence for himself and also for you and the ability he has to throw the ball. So I'm right there with you. Like, you see it in I keep using basketball. You see it in basketball. If you're up 20 or 25 points and the guys on the end of your bench are on the court, you're not going to tell them to just hold the ball. No. You're going to let them play. You're going to let them do the things that they want to do. One, you know, if they hold the ball, it might get stolen. That's the one thing there. But also you got to realize these guys want to play. It's mop-up duty. Let them do what they want to do. Let them do what they came there to do. So I'm right there with you. Let those guys get on the field. And if a guy gets hurt, for whatever reason, we have seen it at Ohio State before, the guy behind him is ready for whatever's in front of him.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you hit it on the head. And so to me, that's the key in every quarterback's development. And that might be why there's partly like what seems like a lack of quarterback development issue at Ohio State right now is because the best reps is live reps.
Yes.
And so if you're getting thrown out there at the end of the third quarter, fourth quarter, like we're going to win this game. Clearly you're in the game. So the coach also has to instill the confidence in the play calling to be like, look, hey, let it loose.
Yes.
You know, this is your time to play. This is your time to get some live action. They probably still got their starters in. They're still coming at you. These are other opponents. These aren't guys that are going to take it easy on you in any facet for the rest of the game. So I'm going to let you loose. I'm going to let you do your thing. Now, you get 2 drives. You score 2 quick touchdowns because he done threw pretty balls, and you could tell that he could play quarterback. All right, we could step back a little bit. At the same time, there's a happy median you can make in developing your players, your backup players in live game reps while also not being unsportsmanlike. Like there is a medium where you can meet in the middle. And if this dude shines early, hey, albeit to you, it sucks that your third and fourth drive that you get in the fourth quarter, we're handing the ball off, but you played great as soon as you were given the opportunity. But you got to give them the opportunity and let them flourish, because you never know when you got this much talent at quarterback or said be talent at quarterback. You never know when your starter goes down, and the talent cannot be seen if you're also trying to develop with them throughout the season, where it may be too late for that at that point in the season. If we're 9-0 walking into week 10 and Will Howard goes down, and we know Julian Saying is an elite talent, we know Aaron Nolan is an elite talent, but neither one of them seem like they are ready to take live reps on the field that late into the season. One, you're looking at the coaching staff, but two, we're 9-0 trying to play for, we're looking at Big Ten championship and national championship at that point in the season at 9-0. We're looking to play that team up north here in a couple weeks. Like, that's what's left in the season. If y'all aren't ready because we're not developing the players and giving them live reps, then when they go in there shaking their boots, when they're shaking in their boots because the moment has, you've passed up every moment that means nothing to let them get live game reps and feel comfortable. And now you've put them in the moment where they might be shaking in their boots. I'm not saying or Nolan would be doing that, but these games now matter. This moment now matters. Will Howard went down middle of the second quarter. We're down 10-7 to Penn State. And I got to win this game or else we go 9-1 and we might not be able to. So you got to have those guys ready. And the only way you could do that, that's what those first 3 to 4 weeks in the season are for the most part. Like, that's what the first 3 to 4 weeks in the season are for. Just like how the SEC does when they play one of those bad in like week 11 before rivalry week, and like we killed them for it. But guess what? The SEC teams, they play them late in the season. They have them scheduled late in the season, so they walk into these playoffs healthy. So Correct. They walk into this bowl season healthy, especially now that we're a 12-team playoff. So different priorities of how you set your schedule, but when you have these tune-up games the first 3 weeks, it's for everybody to get their shine, get the starters on there, get some live game reps, get ready to rev up for the season, for that big matchup we got in week 4 or week 5, or when we start conference play in week 4, something like that. But y'all got to get live reps. It can't just be the starters, and then we're just handing the ball off, and we're not blitzing, and we're not press coverage because we don't want any of these backups to get better, or we don't want, like, at that point, they're backups. You're not risking injury. You could be risking injury to depth, but they're in there for a reason. You got to give them the live reps, or the development of these dudes is going to show in the spring game when you have to showcase Julian Sand versus Aaron Nolan as the spring quarterback battle. And we're going to be like, neither one of them look ready because they just spent a year just being backups, but not getting live reps when they had an opportunity.
Speaking of live reps, they got a lot of live reps during spring practice. Will Howard transferred to Ohio State to start. Julian Sand transferred to Ohio State knowing he could start eventually. Which one will start in 2024? We'll get Mo's answer next. This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the right resources to hire. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. This episode is brought to you by Billiards Plus. Billiards Plus has the best selection of pool tables, game tables, shuffleboard tables, and more, and the best service in Central Ohio. Billiards Plus carries grills that have up to 30-year warranties. That's right, a grill with a 30-year warranty. Everything you need for in-home and backyard entertainment is at Billiards Plus. Billiards Plus carries the best pool tables from Brunswick, Ohio, Canada, billiards, and more. And the grills, whether you like charcoal or gas or wood-fired, Billiards Plus has a perfect setup for all grillers. They are family-owned and operated, and when you talk to the staff at Billiards Plus, you know you're talking to an expert who won't steer you wrong. No matter the season, Billiards Plus has you covered for all your indoor and outdoor entertainment needs. Kenny, Sarah, and the whole staff will always go above and beyond to give you the best customer service in the industry. Billiards Plus. Visit their showroom on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin. Mo, I was a person when Will Howard first transferred to Ohio State. I said he was going to start. I still think he's going to start game number 1. I don't know if he'll start all 12 games. I am not super high on him as saying like he's a future first-round pick, which is what we're accustomed to at Ohio State. Don't get me wrong. Like, we knew JT Barrett wasn't that guy as first-round pick, but we knew he was that dude at quarterback for the Buckeyes. I'm not really comfortable saying Will Howard running the offense for Ohio State is what Ryan Day wants or Chip Kelly wants, is giving them the best option with his arm and his legs to make the offense the most successful for the entire regular season. Julian Sand might give them a better option with his arm, not his legs, than Will Howard, which is why I am surprised Julian Sand's in the mix right now to be a QB1, but also I am not, because the guys above him really haven't separated themselves from him being the newcomer on the team.
Yeah, the only part I disagree with you is that Ryan Day wouldn't want Will Howard as the starter. I think Ryan Day and Chip Kelly actually have two different answers. If you ask them in a separate room and got their honest answer, in your opinion, who's going to be the starting quarterback? And Ryan Day gave his honest answer, and I guarantee you they would be two different answers. And I think Chip Kelly's answer would be Julian Sand. I think Ryan Day's answer would be Will Howard. The reason I say that, each coach has two different agendas. Chip Kelly wants the best guy for his offense to flourish and put up 1,000 yards a game and 100 points a game. That's all he cares about, is what I can do with this offense with this guy. Ryan Day not only is making the right decision for what's best for the team, but he's also making what's the safest decision for Ryan Day. And so watching the spring game, I think Julian Sayin is more talented than Will Howard. But I think today, Will Howard is the safer option because I think clearly he's ready to start right now. I thought maybe coming out of this spring game, I thought they would unleash the quarterbacks a little more. So, like I even said, so before anybody's like, oh, he's trying to double back on what I said on one of my clips on TikTok. No, I did think Julian Sayin would look great and he would be looked at as quarterback one. I was wrong. I think it's still saying Chip Kelly wants Sayin to be the guy. Will Howard is the safest option walking into the season, but he could be walking on eggshells, especially very early. You're not going to pass up on the opportunity if the offense doesn't look the way you want it to look. You are not going to go through the first 3 weeks riding or dying with Will Howard if you feel like there's a better option or your offensive coordinator who's respected, whose offensive mind is respected by you yourself. He was like a mentor to you, and Chip Kelly says, hey, we cannot go into the games that matter like this. So let's get this out the way and let's let Julian Sayin play in these tune-up games and get him these live game reps because he's going to be the one that can lead us over Penn State and Michigan and Oregon and the Big Ten championship and the playoffs. And so we need to get him these reps early if it doesn't look right. If it doesn't look like a well-oiled machine right away, I think Chip Kelly and Ryan Day will sit there. But I do think they have in honest conversations, you sit both of them behind closed doors. I think Ryan Day has a different answer of who will be the starting quarterback than Chip Kelly.
That's interesting. Never really thought about that, which is probably a good reason why I've stopped to just pause while you're saying that in the way that I did. I find it really odd because they're not the same quarterback. No. The one thing people marveled about with Will Howard when he came in was, oh, he could run. He's 6'4", 245. He could run. He could move. People didn't talk about his arm, which to me, that was a knock on him as a quarterback for Ohio State because Ohio State wants your arm to be the first thing, legs second, maybe even last option you utilize. Julian Sayin, his arm is better. To me, his arm is super, super talented, super quick release, but also he's young. So I know that one's with experience, one is young, one has a different skill set than the other. And I'm starting to think like, do you go with a safer guy or the more talented guy? And I don't know. Like, I'm not all in on Will Howard being the guy for the long haul.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jay.
Yeah.
My timeline could be wrong.
Yeah.
Will Howard entered the transfer portal. We got him.
Yeah.
We hadn't hired Chip Kelly yet. And Julian Sayin hadn't hit the transfer portal yet. Then we hire Chip Kelly and we get Julian Sayin, if I'm not mistaken.
I forget the timeline. I know he entered the portal after Saban retired.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
We already had Chip Kelly by then. So we get Will Howard out the portal before Chip Kelly exists. We hire Chip Kelly. And then Julian Sayin leaves because Saban retires and we go get Julian Sayin because Chip Kelly goes and gets a guy that he sees fit for his offense. Probably a guy that he tried to recruit at UCLA, probably got shut down, but he's a guy that he talked to before. So there's a reason why those timeline of events went the way they went. Nobody on this roster right now is a guy that Chip Kelly picked to run his offense, except for Julian Sayin. So I think that's going to matter. And I think Julian Sayin coming there and already when Will Howard got there, you're like, you got Aaron Nolan, Devin Brown, Lincoln Kleinholz. Why would Julian Sayin come there? Because Chip Kelly's there. And Chip Kelly handpicked him. I was like, I would love for you to be my guy that I put in this quarterback battle to try and compete to be the starting quarterback for Ohio State because I think you fit this offense the best. There's different agendas, but at the end of the day, the same goal. It's just we might go about it a different way. Chip Kelly, because he's only the offensive coordinator and he just got hired by Ohio State, he could make Julian Sayin, he could go through the rough patches, come out gunslinging. Julian Sayin throw 500 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions, but they win 63-3, and he can live with those results and work through the process because his job isn't on the line. Ryan Day has to be able to win football games at a very high level this year. It can't just be squeeze by wins. You have to win the games that you're supposed to big time and almost look flawless the way they bought in. But Ryan Day knows if I will win a lot of games. I will walk. He probably feels like it with Will Howard. I will walk in to the game against the team up north 11-0. The thing is, How does that 11-0 look? Because the way they've advertised the team this year, especially on the offensive side, Jay, we're the first team to be on a major network, nationally televised spring game. And there's reasons why, because of these names: Emeka Egbuka, Travion Henderson, Quinshawn Judkins, Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate. Like, do I need to go down the list of offensive personnel? So this has to look great on the offensive side, but it's safe because I know Will Howard can ball against these bad teams. And if it looks great up to that point, I think we'll be fine. So I know he could ball. He was decent enough at he was good at Kansas State. He wasn't great.
Yeah, right.
I think it's safe because you know he'll win the most important. He'll probably have you walking into the Oregon game undefeated. Our season should start on how good or great we really are that Oregon week. We should be undefeated walking in there, and that's our first major opponent. That's when the season starts. That's when Oregon pops up. That's when Penn State pops up. So I think Will Howard can be very convincing that he should be the starting quarterback all the way up to that point, and I think Ryan Day would feel more comfortable because if this doesn't look good, if this doesn't work, and he makes the decision too late, you know he's gone. Like, he's probably on the hottest hot seats this year. Yeah. They went and bought the best team money could buy in college football. They put it on national display for everybody to see. You don't think this had everything to do with the athletic direct? We are going to put this trophy of an offense, this elite defense that we have on display for the rest of the world to see when nobody else can be seen. We are going to be seen, and you are the guy that has to make this look right. And right now, the only question we have is quarterback. We still walk away from the spring game. The only question is quarterback. So you have to make the right decision because not only does this have to go undefeated and really probably win a national championship because of the talent everywhere else, it has to look right. Even if Ohio State walked into the team up north undefeated. Jay, what else can we ask for other than being 11-0? But it did. The expectation at what undefeated looks like at Ohio State, it didn't look right.
No, it didn't.
Every time you walked away and it just didn't look right. So this has to look right. You have to play the part. Not only do you get the part, you have to play the part.
Correct.
You have to be a great actor in this movie. And so any person that doesn't get to play their part, trust and believe there's so much depth you can be replaced, but the quarterback might be the least replaceable position, and we still don't know who the starting quarterback is. So that's why I'm with you. I think it's Will Howard because it's safe. It's a fifth-year senior. This guy's been there, done that. He's had some moments. He played good with Kansas State. Like, he has had some good games on, and he's got all the experience in the world. And so that's why I think, like, in that, he wins the argument because if you pick the wrong guy, other than Will Howard, people are going to be like, you should have got the vet. And then if you pick Will Howard and it doesn't look right, and Sayan comes in too late in the season for you to make the change, and we're like, man, if he had a little more time, this team would have been, and that's the takeaway from the rest of the country, you losing your job anyway. Yeah. So Chip Kelly and Ryan Day got the same goal, but they got two different agendas about how they're going to go about it.
So I looked this up quickly, and I got to get the show up out of here in a little bit, but I got another question for you here, Mo. Bill O'Brien was hired on January 19th. Julian Sayin transferred January 21st. Bill O'Brien left February 9th. Chip Kelly was hired February 10th. So Bill the timeline.
But I forgot about Bill O'Brien, though. Like, I forgot about Bill O'Brien in this whole thing because, I mean, he came and went. Like, so I did forget about Bill O'Brien.
Right. But the timeline, it's easy to get mixed up. And you would think, hey, Chip Kelly wants. I believe I'm with you, though.
Saying's his guy, though. Even when he's asked about it, he has a little bit of glitter in his eyes talking about Julian Sayin. And that's fine. If that's your guy, I trust the offensive mind like Chip Kelly. Whoever his guy is to run his offense, that is fine. My thing is this. Are they running Ryan Day's offense or are they running Chip Kelly's offense? That matters in this conversation as well. Because if Chip Kelly is just there for the aesthetics of having an elite offensive coordinator, but we're running the same offense that Ryan Day's been running, then you win against bringing Chip Kelly in the first place. So, like, if your offensive coordinator is who he picks should hold in high regard and almost be pretty inarguable if you're running his offense. The guy who thinks would put his job on the line for his offense, I probably would rock with that person then, because you'd be like, look, hey, Chip Kelly could be like, look, you can let me go if Sayin's not the guy. But I think he should be the starter, and I think he takes this offense to where it should be, and we can win a national championship with this guy. And you can fire me if I'm wrong. Middle of the season if you want to. And if he gives that kind of argument because that's his guy, man, if you're running Chip Kelly's offense, like you say, If you brought him in to run the offense, to be hands off a little bit so you can start being more of the manager and a head coach, then how you arguing against your offensive coordinator's pick? And I think his pick would be Julian Sand. They would sit behind those closed doors with all the truth, and they would know it would be Will Howard for Day, and it would be Julian Sand for Chip Kelly. I believe that, in all honesty. And I think Chip Kelly would even maybe make a pitch for Aaron Nolan, but I don't think there would be a single mention of Devin Brown and Lincoln Kleinholz. I think it would be they're good guys. I love them. They work hard. You know, they're here to get quality reps. It would be a different type of conversation as opposed to that spark in Chip Kelly's eye when he talk about Julian Sand.
Last question for you here quickly. You said that the only question is the quarterbacks. Are you comfortable with the offensive line currently?
Okay, no, but that's a unit that gets better, so I'm fine there. I think there's enough depth, there's enough names, and they've done enough in college football for me to at least be like, over time, they could get better. And I think they're good enough. They're good enough as long as they get better. This is the timeline. The timeline is all the way up until the Oregon game. That's when all of y'all have to be – that is the timeline for you to play at your best. We're going to wipe the floor with everybody else leading up to that. Our season starts with that Oregon game. I think we have enough personnel on the offensive line that by that Oregon game, it'll start to look right already, and that'll be the stamp on this is the offensive line that's ready to go for the rest of the season, and they'll do it against Oregon. That's our timeline, and I think these guys, they'll be all put in the right position to be a very good offensive line. Outside of that, you are looking at the offense with the best weapons in the country, and you're looking at the soon-to-be best defense in the country. I promise to God. This Ohio State team, if the quarterback is right and the offensive line is right, this team is winning the national championship because you watched the best defense in the country and you watched on display the best weapons money could buy in the country. I just want to put that out there. But if the quarterback's not right and that O-line's not right, a lot of this could not matter in the games that matter.
That's Mo Murphy of the Up in Flames podcast of the Off the Ball Network. He will be back. Don't get me wrong. Mo and I will be doing shows all off season, during the season, next off season, don't matter. Mo and I are going to link up every now and then to get this show rocking. And for Mo to provide the announcements about Ohio State, he just did during today's show. You can follow him on X at Mo_Cheese15. You can follow me on the same platform at JStevens07. Send all emails to jstevens317@gmail.com. See you tomorrow, Buckeye fans. We had a good show.